Hello friends, and welcome back to my homestead. We're back in the kitchen again because earlier today we picked these beauties, blueberries, on the back of our homestead. And this is a blueberry season and they're absolutely delicious. They're so sweet, so juicy, and they're packed with so many wonderful nutritional aspects. Blueberry is a superfood, right? It's highly recommended in health and nutritional circles, and they're high in antioxidants, phytoflavonoids, potassium, vitamin C. These berries are anti-inflammatory and highly regarded in the fight against heart disease, but they're also delicious. Let's face it, these are blueberries, and we need to preserve them for the future. Yes, they're delicious right now because it's in the season, but the winter is coming. So how can we preserve it? The most common way of preserving berries is making a jam, but that means that we have to put it on the stove, cook it, and unfortunately kill a lot of wonderful nutrients in the berry. The best way is to keep it alive, literally alive. And how can we do that? Well, okay, we can freeze it, but unfortunately my freezer is already filled to the brim with everything else, and I really don't have any more space, and many people don't have space in their freezers either. So I want to show you how we can preserve it with sugar, and it will be shelf stable. However, it has to be shelf stable in a cool place. So think of a very cool place in your house. I'm gonna probably store it in the back of my refrigerator or in my cellar that is quite cool, especially in the winter months, because you don't want to store it in a warm place. So I will only need 2 ingredients, simple. I'm gonna need blueberries and sugar, and oh my word, a lot of sugar. So I remember my mama used to make this sort of recipe, and the ratio was always for cooked jam, it was 1-to-1, and it always goes by weight, not by measurement cups, always goes by weight. And I remember it was always metric system. She did 1 kilo of berry to 1 kilo of sugar, but that was for heat processing jam. However, if you're gonna keep them in a raw state, you need to increase the proportion. And the ratio is going to be 1 kilo or 1 part of berry to 2 parts of sugar. I'm not kidding. I know it sounds ridiculous. So I have 3 pounds of berries. Guess what? 6 pounds of sugar. Well, I'm making a big batch, but you don't have to make that much. And if you're just starting out, make a little batch and see how it goes, okay? And see how you like it. But I'm going to tell you something. Couple of weeks ago, I made the same product but using strawberries. And half of it is gone because my children are eating it like crazy. A teaspoon into their tea, a teaspoon on top of their yogurt, a teaspoon on top of their pancakes, a teaspoon on top of everything. And I'm telling you, almost half of it is gone. And the winter is not even here yet. So it's delicious. Why? Because it's going to create, after it's processed, it's going to be that almost like a gelatinous, smooth, sweet jam, uncooked jam. And like I said, keeping it to store it for several months, especially over the winter, is best in a cool place. Cool place. So I'm going to store it on the back of my refrigerator where it's a little cooler. And then when my cellar gets cold, I'll put it in my cellar for the winter months. Okay, so let me show you how I'm going to process this jam without cooking. Okay, you guys ready? Follow me. Okay, I've got my berries in a large mixing bowl. I made sure they're all clean, removed all the stems, and I went through all of them, make sure there was no bad berries, because you don't want any bad berries in here. It's going to create a mess. And now I'm going to be putting sugar over that. I know it's a lot of sugar, but this is my recipe, and this is what's going to help to preserve the berry. I'm going to be mixing everything, and then I'm going to use my handheld blender to pulverize everything. That is going to break the berry, mix together everything with sugar, and that's it. I also have, I don't know if you can see them, I also washed and I sterilized all my jars and made sure that they're all completely dry and cooled off, because I'm gonna be pouring my cold jam into cold jars. The covers are also nice and clean, and make sure that whatever you're working with is completely clean, because you don't want any unwanted bacteria when you're storing food for a long-term storage. Okay, so I know it's a lot of sugar. I know, please don't yell at me. I know, but in this case, sugar is what's going to be preserving. Okay, so I mean, this is one of the old time recipes that I know that was used many years ago. Okay, so I'm gonna be turning on my machine, so it's gonna be loud, but this is what we're gonna be doing. You guys ready? So every couple of hours we need to stir this. So I'm gonna use my blender again to stir this all up. It's already turning more into gelatinous, but I feel a little bit of sugar still on the bottom. So I'm going to blend it one more time before I fill my jars. So at this point, the mass became almost gelatinous. Sugar is pretty well dissolved, and I'm going to be filling up my sterilized jars, and they're already cold at this point. So I'm going to be filling up all the way to the top. We're not going to allow any headspace at all, because we don't want a lot of oxygen in these jars. And like I said, we're going to be storing them in the coolest place you've got in your house. So if you only have a refrigerator, or if you have a cold basement or a cellar, a root cellar, something like that, that's where it's going to be stored the best. Now, if you have to use it, try to use a clean spoon every time, because you don't want to introduce any bacteria to it. Even though, trust me, I know my kids love to go back into it because it's so delicious. And because it's a fresh berry, it's not a processed berry. So I'm going to keep filling them all up. Give me a minute, okay? Now at this point, I'm just gonna wipe all my rims, but I'm gonna don't laugh, but I'm gonna be topping off with a little bit more sugar, because I don't want any oxygen to get into my jam while it's sitting on a shelf. So I'm gonna be taking another teaspoon or so of sugar and adding more to the top. Okay, so I'm going to label them, and I'm gonna put them in a cool place, and I have a special place in my refrigerator, in the back of my refrigerator. And anytime in the middle of the winter when we need extra boost of vitamin C, friends, I've got myself some live food here. I know it's super sweet, but you don't need much. And that's how I'm going to be storing my blueberries. Isn't this an amazing process? So I encourage you guys to try something new and store away some fresh vitamin C, antioxidants, some potassium, superfood, blueberries.